Hello, my name is Arvin Dismuke, and today we will be taking a look at how human resources has evolved into what we now call human capital management. This topic is going to show us how organizations have changed how they view their employees, moving from a basic administrative work to a more strategic and people focused approach. Human resources originally focused on paperwork, hiring, and making sure rules were being followed. Over time, organizations realized that workers weren't just people, they were valuable assets that could help an organization grow. Um, this is where human capital management comes in. Honestly, it's hard for me to remember the term or the acronym, I'm sorry, HCM, because the military uses a ton of acronyms. So when I hear it, it makes me think of something else. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. So HCM focuses on hiring the right people, training them well, giving them the tools that they need to succeed, and building a workplace where people actually want to stay. Um, as the environments change, organizations need stronger systems to recruit, train, and keep employees. This is why human capital management is important for us today. So, this is where we get to have a little bit of fun. So, HR is basically the foundation when we're looking at HR versus human capital management. Um, HCM expands on the idea of human resources by using strategies and technology to help employees succeed and stay with the organization. Um, Honestly, HR handles basic duties: hiring, payroll, benefits, training. Human capital management includes all of these, but goes a little bit deeper, um, including, again, using strategies, planning, technology, those kind of things to help employees grow and improve. It focuses on long term goals like performance and talent development and just building a stronger workforce. Okay, so let's take a look at just a quick glance at the history of how human resources developed and evolved into human capital management. Employee management really changed over time. In the earlier years, it was mainly just paperwork, handling paperwork. Later, HR kind of grew into managing trainings and employee relations, legal requirements, things like that. Today, human capital management takes it a little bit further using data, technology, and long term planning. The shift really happened because workplaces grew a little more competitive and technology improved, and employees honestly became more diverse. And organizations needed a way to develop and keep their workforce. All right, so let's jump into some terminology and definitions. Um, we'll start with human capital. So, human capital is really the skills and ability and knowledge that people bring to an organization. When an organization invests in the people that it employs, it honestly increases the overall value of the organization. For example, let's say a public safety organization or agency trains officers in something like crisis response. That increases those officers' value and what they bring to the community. Human capital is the main idea behind human capital management because the employees are seen as assets that can grow and improve over time. Next on the list for me would be retention. So retention means just keeping good employees long term. Um, Organizations focus on retention because hiring and training new people honestly is a waste of time and money when you could focus on keeping and improving the employees that you have. Um, Good retention practices could include things like career growth, fair or competitive wages, and supportive leadership, which is huge. Um, for example, let's say you have an organization that offers tuition assistance or professional development that makes employees want to stay. And when employees feel valued or they feel like they are a part of something that is worth staying around for, they're less likely to leave. Next on my list is a big one, DEI. Say it with me, DEI. One more time, DEI. Okay, enough of that. So, DEI basically stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Um, this basically just means creating a work environment where everybody feels respected and treated fairly. Today, it's used in hiring, training, and leadership development. Now, some people kind of debate whether DEI is necessary. However, research shows that diverse teams bring better ideas and performance. In public safety and government, DEI is very important for building trust in the community. Now, being in the military and actually being in HR in the military is a little bit different. DEI is assumed, but here recently has been a lot of changes um, coming down from the powers that be, and we're starting to see a lot of discrimination with a lot of different things, including like the shaving policy. I have a permanent no shaving profile. Those just went out the window, and they were for soldiers who experience certain facial conditions when they shave. This is honestly geared more towards African American males. Some Caucasian males even experienced it too, but then also we have people in the military who have beards because of religious exemptions. The religious exemptions still stand. However, now there's extra steps that you have to go through in order to maintain that facial hair, for lack of better terms. But that is now causing people to be kicked out of the military for having a skin condition that prohibits you from being able to shave every day or maintain a clean shaven face with an actual razor. So it's causing issues when it comes to DEI because everybody is not feeling included. Everybody is not feeling equal at the moment. But there are ways, to work around that as anything. However, when you have things like DEI in place, you can avoid issues like this. Next on my list is onboarding. Okay, so I like to think of onboarding as pretty much what's in the name, bringing people on board. The process of onboarding helps new employees learn the job and just feel comfortable being in the organization. Um, Good onboarding should include things like orientation, meeting the team that you'll be working with, and somebody who can explain the culture of the organization that you're coming into. It's important because employees decide really quickly whether they feel connected to an organization or not. So strong onboarding improves performance and employees' confidence level in their role, and it improves retention, because if all of those needs are met, why would a person want to leave? If you feel comfortable where you're at, you feel comfortable in your training, and you feel connected to the organization, and you understand the culture and the dynamic of how things work um, on the team that you may be working on, or with your fellow employees or bosses or anything of that nature, it would increase the chances that you would want to stay with that company. All right, so the last one I'm gonna jump on is going to be exit interviews. Now, I've had a few jobs, and I don't think I've ever done an exit interview except maybe once. So, an exit interview is basically an opportunity for the employee to say why they're leaving an organization. It gives leadership a chance to understand why the person is leaving, and take that information and kind of use it to improve the workplace. For example, let's say you have a bunch of employees that are resigning, saying that they're leaving because of poor communication. The organization at that point knows, hey, there's something that we need to fix here. So they can take that information and start to do what they need to do with it in order to rectify the problem that multiple people are saying that they're having. And it just gives the organization as a whole an opportunity to learn from their mistakes and retain their employees a little bit longer. Okay, so I have it on the screen here, but I'm just going to kind of go over some of the things that human capital management includes. Um, so it basically covers hiring, training, pay and benefits, workplace policies, performance reviews, legal compliance, career development, employee engagement, and there was one other that I wanted to mention. Oh, thank you. Preparing future leaders. All of these areas work together to keep a strong workforce within the organization, and it also helps the organization meet the organizational needs. All right, so let's talk about nepotism. Nepotism is what happens when you hire someone or promote someone who is a family or friend, even if that person is not the most qualified. In public safety, this can definitely create some serious issues. First of all, it's unfair. Secondly, it hurts morale. Um, Third, it increases inequality. And fourth, it damages trust in the organization. Um, it goes against the idea of equal opportunity. And to be honest, human capital management focuses on skill, performance, and fairness. So nepotism goes directly against everything that human capital management stands for. All right, so let's talk about why human capital management matters to strategy. So honestly, no organization can reach its goals without the right people in place doing the right jobs. Human capital management supports the strategic planning by hiring strong individuals, um, building their skills, and preparing them to be future leaders. It also keeps the employees motivated and engaged. When employees feel valued and supported, the entire organization becomes more effective. Okay, so in a nutshell, HR was a system that started it all, basically focusing on employee needs. But over time, it developed into what we know as human capital management, which is more strategic and focuses more on employees' growth. Honestly, the terms that we went over, such as human capital, retention, DEI, onboarding, and exit interviews show how modern organizations manage their people today.